Hi Shanny Fannies, welcome to Educating Shanny. I'm Shanny and I'm recovering from an eating disorder. Hi Shanny, hi! Merry Christmas to you all! It's November, which means it's Christmas, and then it will be Thanksgiving, and then it will be Christmas again. So Merry Christmas. Hi guys. I look horrible because I feel horrible, but I'm going to try and hurry and get this out really quickly. I've got a really bad migraine, but I really want to get this video up for you guys. So this is the video of the footage from my speech for this fall's A Reason to Stand conference. If you don't know what that is, A Reason to Stand is a conference that my friend Ashlee started when her husband, a while after her husband was murdered by his mistress's husband. And she kind of found out like in the same 10 seconds that first of all, your husband's cheating on you, and also he's just got shot in the face and he's dead. So she's an incredible person, and she was left behind with 5 kids, and she's been through a lot of trauma. And so she started these conferences and started asking people that she knew or that she found that could share their stories at these conferences, which are, it's like an all-day thing with a lunch break and some other breaks and stuff, but like you basically just come and listen to all the speakers, and they all share their different stories of the really hard things they've been through, as well as they share how they got through it and hope. And it really is a beautiful thing that she created, and I'm so proud of her for doing it, and I'm so grateful that I was asked again to be a part of this. Oh, she's like texting me right now. How bizarre is that? Oh my gosh, she's so cute. I love you, Ashlee. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so that's basically what it is. My good friend Alicia, that you guys know, she's on the board now, and they're gonna go national now, and they're like an official non-profit thing now, and they might even want me to do, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk that yet, but I'll tell you when I can. It's an amazing conference. A lot of cool people came and spoke, and you're about to see footage for my speech, but I wanted to give you a little disclaimer. First of all, I did not feel comfortable putting some of the details of my speech on the internet, so I did have to cut it down a little bit. I'm so sorry for that. I know that's annoying, but hey, if you want to hear those details, come and see us at the next one. So far, they've been doing it every spring and every fall, so if you want to try and plan for next spring, start saving up some money to come and see me, that would be awesome. I'm not sure where it'll be at, but I know it'll be in the United States, so yeah. So anyway, so I did cut a little bit of that out. The other thing I want to say is that you are going to hear some things about my dad and what he did to me. I want to say this because it's important to me. I know a lot of you won't want to hear this, but I feel I need to say this, which is that I chose to forgive my dad a couple years ago, and I truly did that. And while, yes, I do have new memories with him coming up that I'm working through, I still went through the process of watching him do everything he possibly could as a human being, with himself, with the law, with God, with everything, to make himself a better person, and I truly believe he did that. And so I went through the forgiveness process with him, not mainly for me, but also for him, because he is my dad, and I do love him, and I care about him. However, I will be speaking about it forever, even though I've let it go. The things that I did forgive him for. I'm working on the new stuff. Give me a minute. But I did forgive him for that stuff, and I do look at him now as a different person. I see him now as another child of God who deserves another chance, because I believe most people in life deserve another chance, and I believe that he's one of them. And you can disagree, that's fine, but he's my dad, and I know him, and I know his heart, and I know that he did everything possible to get better and to do better in his life. So anyway, he's not in my life, by the way. He's not in my life. I can't have him in my life only because physically looking at him kind of triggers those memories, and then that triggers other things with me. So yes, I've forgiven him. Yes, I've, let that go, but it still affects me to the point that I can't have a relationship with him, and I know he understands that. So I also have to say, I woke up that morning with I had had some kidney stones throughout the week, the days leading up to that morning. And that morning I woke up and I had a kidney stone that was stuck like almost at the pee hole. Like it just would not come out. It would not go back in. It would not stop hurting. It was horrendous. So I woke up with that, and I texted Alicia and told her I was sick. and I was absolutely gonna cancel. She was like, oh no, what do you need? Do you want to come later? And I'm like, no, and I was like crying to Danny. I'm like, I can't do this today. I can't. I'm in so much pain. I need to sit on the toilet all day. I just cannot do it. But something in me was like, no, you have to do it. Freaking take a pain pill and go. You can make a joke that you're on pain meds and go, because it's more important for you to be there no matter how miserable you feel and how sick you'll feel. And you'll see, I was like bloated and looked like I'd been puffy and crying for days because I had, and been pushing out these kidney stones for days, like makes you really, anyway, so I went, and I'm glad that I did, because there were some people in the audience that needed to hear my story, and I'll tell you more about that later, maybe on a different video, but it just was really amazing, and I'm so proud of myself for getting up and going even though I was in excruciating pain. So, and then the other thing I want to say really quick, I know this is the longest intro ever, is thank you to Paul. Paul, our best friend Paul, Danny's and my best friend, saved my life. None of my family or friends could come. There were a lot of friends that were telling me they could come, and a lot of family that said they would come, but then it ended up that they couldn't. My mom's friend died, so she had to go to a funeral. There was all kinds of things going on with people, and that's fine. I'm not mad, by the way. I'm totally fine. It's not a big deal. But it did mean a lot to me. I was supposed to speak at like 2:30, but then Lance Allred, who's like a famous person, he was like the first deaf NBA basketball player, and he's incredible. But anyway, he was supposed to come speak at around 11:30, but he couldn't get a babysitter for his son, so they had to switch me with him. So Paul was going to come and film it professionally for me, but he wasn't planning on coming till 2:30. So I called him at like 10 a.m. and he was probably still asleep, and like told him, I'm so sorry, but can you come now? Can you come now? And he just dropped everything he was doing. He came, he brought all of his equipment and Doug's equipment. Thank you, Doug, for lending him your equipment too. And he filmed me, and then he left, and he was there right before I went on stage, and I was crying, and he hugged me and he gave me a pep talk. He basically was my Danny for the day. And so Paul, thank you. I love you. You're the best friend we've ever had. And we love you so much, and we're so, so grateful for you. So, okay, so without further ado, here's my speech. I hope you enjoy it. If you want to hear me talk about kind of where I am right now personally with YouTube, then stick to the end of this video till after my speech, and I will talk to you about that. So here's my speech. I love you. Enjoy.
Get on up here, girl. Love your slipper socks.
Thank you. My feet are cold.
What I love the most about Shanny is just Shanny. She never pretends to be anything different, and
I'm very inappropriate. You need to warn me.
She's very inappropriate, so young children, close your ears. Just kidding. When I was in high school, I struggled a few years with the eating disorder, and as Shanny and I got connected, just hearing about her struggle and her overcoming and her fight, I know makes such a difference in the millions of people who watch her videos. And sometimes she thinks she's just like doing nothing for no one. But I know there's people out there who their lives have changed just because of her smile. And sometimes her videos are just like her dancing by her Christmas tree.
You watched that?
Yes,
so
of course
cool.
I did.
That's so sweet.
But she just brings light to the world, and that's why she's here. That's her mission. So
thank you.
She's gonna bring some light to you guys.
Yes, thank you. Hi guys, I love you too. Okay, hold on, I'm a mess. Shocking. Now, I'm not like these other fancy people who can do this without notes. So I borrowed one of the school here's thing so I can look at this. I should warn you all, well, she already warned you that I'm a very inappropriate person. I'll try and keep this clean. But I'm one of those people where I'm like, listen, if I'm feeling a certain way, I'm just gonna say it, and you're gonna have to deal with it, so just be prepared. For instance, I currently have a kidney stone running through my urethra, and I'm on a pain pill right now, so add that on to already being a little bit inappropriate. I don't know what's gonna come out of my mouth today, so hope you're all ready for it. So the first thing I want to do is to thank Ashlee so much. I am so blown away by her. I can't wait for you guys to hear her speech if you haven't already. She's one of the most
probably the most inspiring people I've ever met. Well, everyone here that's going to be speaking is. And I'm so proud of her. Like, if it were me that went through what she went through, I feel like I would just like curl up in a ball and die and hide forever. But the fact that she is using her trauma to help other people and to bring other people with trauma together is just such a beautiful and brave thing. And I love you so much. So thanks for asking me to be here again. And you've been warned, so. Okay, so my story is one of childhood abuse. I was abused physically, mentally, and sexually. It's really hard to talk about. Also, my story is about eating disorders. I'll get into that in a minute. Bullying in childhood, divorce, suicide, self-harm, and a whole lot of other mental problems, and a whole bunch of physical health problems that I can't even count. There's too many, it's crazy. So basically, when I was asked to share my story, I wasn't really sure which story I should share, because it's not like my story is just like one story of a traumatic situation. Mine's just kind of, I've been handed a lot of trials in my life, and for so long, my story is a story that's full of pain and heartache, but it's also a story of faith and hope and love and healing through God and other people. So I wanted to share with you the story of my eating disorder, because along the way with that story will come the other things that I went through. So my eating disorder was kind of my one constant throughout my life, so I just want to share with you that story. So it started when I was 5 years old. I am the youngest of 4 kids, and my mom had to go back to work. This was back in the day when typically the woman would stay home and take care of the kids in the house, and the man would go to work. But my dad, who was very sick physically and very sick mentally, couldn't go to work, and so my mom went back to work, and all of my older siblings were in school, and so I wasn't in school yet, and so I was left home alone with my dad all day. I talk about this sometimes. I don't know why I'm so nervous. Listen, normally I talk to a camera and that's it. This is very different, talking to actual faces. So, hi. So anyway, so he was abusing me all those ways, and I started to overeat for comfort. I turned to food. We didn't have a lot growing up. We were very poor. We basically lived off of like the Bishop's Storehouse. Does anyone not know what that is? No? Okay, oh cool, sweet. And my grandparents would help us and stuff, so we didn't really have a lot. But I remember my dad would lock himself in his room and just neglect me all day long. And so I just would go in the kitchen and find whatever I could, which was usually like a bunch of ramen noodles or something. And I remember at 5, 6 years old, cooking and eating 3 packages of ramen noodles all by myself, like really fast. And I just clung to food for comfort, and my siblings were all very active and fit, and I was often bigger than them, even though I was the youngest. I just really struggled with my weight, and a lot of them wouldn't finish their dinner, and so I would take their food and I would hoard it and I would hide it under my pillow, and then I would binge on it all night long. So binge eating disorder is an eating disorder. Not a lot of people think of it that way, but overeating to the point of binging, if that's an addiction, then it's an eating disorder. And so binge eating disorder started at 5 years old. Another thing I would do, I remember when I was little, because I didn't know any better, when I just was all alone all day, I would go to the neighbors' houses and knock on their door and ask them if they had any food. And they must have thought that I was being starved at home or something, but no, I just wanted to eat constantly. That's the only thing that I found comfort in, other than my mom, but she was at work and she had her own really horrible things going on. So over the next few years, the abuse with my dad continued. I put on a lot of weight in my childhood. I got bullied in school a lot. There was this one boy in particular. I'll never forget this story. It just was horrible. I was much bigger than all the kids in my class, and I got boobs when I was like in 2nd grade. I don't know if they're technically boobs because I hadn't started. Are there any men here? I apologize, because I think I've already talked about my urethra and my boobs, so sorry. Anyway, I'm also on my period, so. Okay. So this boy who just would just always call me fat and all the regular blah, blah. We were at the park one day with a bunch of kids from school. I'll never forget this. And this boy, come to find out later in life, he was going through a hard time too. But as a child, I didn't know that and I didn't understand that. But he brought this porn magazine to the park. And I remember I was up on the hill and there were like 30 other kids surrounding me, and he comes walking up the hill and he gets to the top and he kind of faces everybody and he opens the porn magazine to like the centerfold where she's like naked, and in front of all of these kids he started pointing out on her picture what she had that I didn't, such as my boobs weren't perky enough, and my stomach wasn't flat like hers was, and how come my butt was so big and hers was so firm. And unfortunately, with kids, they didn't know, they were scared of him too, and so they all laughed. Not one person out of all those 30 children, not one spoke up. And that's just so heartbreaking. I'm so glad that bullying is being talked about so much more these days, and teaching kids to stand up if you see someone getting hurt, because it does make a difference. It makes a big difference. So anyway, so the bullying continued, the waking continued, and along that road, I was also sexually abused by 2 other male family members. And it was around that time that I started to gain a lot of weight, and somewhere in that little mind of mine, I think I was 8 or 9 years old, I thought to myself, maybe if I get fat enough, then won't touch me, or won't touch me, or the other person won't touch me. So I continued to gain weight. Around 8, 9 years old, I developed a very important, I don't know another word for that, role in my family. I was kind of known in our family, they would always call me the family sunshine, because I was always smiling and I was always happy even though I was hurting inside. I'm really, really good at hiding that. I don't know if you can tell that, but so anyway, so I developed this role. Every day when he would come home, we would all run and we would hide in the basement. And we would wait to hear him come in. My dad was very abusive and manipulative and controlling and blah, blah, blah. But he also sometimes, it was confusing because sometimes he was like the coolest, most charming, funny, awesome, fun dad in the whole world with like the biggest heart. But you just never knew which one you were gonna get, and it was always one or the other. There was no in between. So my job as, an 8-year-old was to go upstairs and find out if he was in one of his bad moods or one of his good moods. And if he was in a good mood, great. But if he was in a bad mood, it was my job to fix it, to make him laugh, to cheer him up, to make him happy. So as you can imagine, that's a lot to put on a little kid. But my whole life kind of continued like that. I kept on putting on this face and being this like really happy, outgoing, seemingly person, and just kind of hid what was really, really going on inside of me. Over the next few years after that, my mom and dad started fighting even more, and I started failing school. I was actually a straight A student up until that point. I was a really good student, but I started failing school, and eventually when I was about 13 years old, there was a situation with my dad that, well, for lack of time, I'll just say that that was our chance to get out. we moved in with my grandma down in Spanish Fork, which means that at 13 years old, I had to leave all my friends, I had to leave all my school, my ward, everything. I had to leave, and it was really a difficult time to have to leave that age. So we moved down there, and how am I on time? I feel like I'm going really slow. I'm good, okay. So we moved down to Spanish Fork, and basically I kind of got obsessed with this boy, and I noticed that he only liked skinny girls. And by that time I was so addicted to food that it was like, wait, I cannot stop eating because that's my only comfort. My parents are going through a divorce. I just had to leave my friends, blah, blah, blah. So somewhere, and I still to this day can't figure out where I got the idea to start purging, which is where you gag yourself to make yourself throw up. So I purged for the very first time, and it stuck ever since then. I've been bulimic. That was 20 years ago. I'm 34 years old now. So it's 20 years ago that started. Where are my notes? Oh, hold on. Don't mind me. Okay, so also around that age, I started to self-harm. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's cutting yourself, hitting yourself, burning yourself. There's all types of different self-harms, but I particularly was a cutter and a puncher and things like that. And for those of you that might not understand why people self-harm, it's basically when you have so much pain mentally, you'll do anything you can do to get rid of that pain, even if it means hurting yourself physically, so that you can, even for an hour, just think of that pain instead of the pain that's going on in here. It's very misunderstood, it's very shameful to a lot of people, but I'm all about talking about it and taking the shame away from it. So also around that age, when I was 14, I was diagnosed with some health problems. Acid reflux, endometriosis, which is a tough one, fibromyalgia, which causes severe pain everywhere, interstitial cystitis, which is cysts on my kidneys and my bladders, and I get lots of UTIs and kidney stones. That's fun. Severe anemia, and then mentally I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety at that age so far. So that kind of like added to the burden. It made me miss a lot of school. It made me sick all the time. I couldn't hang out with friends. I was just really lacking in life because of these health problems. But you know, I very soon had to get used to them, and I did. When I was about 17 years old, my brother, who was my best friend in the whole world, went on a mission for our church, and I decided, by then I had gotten I gained a lot of weight. By the way, the bulimia did not make me lose weight. And so I thought I'd start like starving myself while my brother was on his mission and like impress him when he got home with all this weight loss and blah, blah, blah. So I did that, and I lost about 80 pounds, and you know, all of a sudden I started getting this attention, and boys were asking me out on dates, which had never happened before, and it just was like all of a sudden my family was giving me more attention, friends that I haven't seen forever giving me more attention. And that's like so dangerous. It's so dangerous for me because it just egged it on more and kept it going. So my anorexia continued, and when I was 18 years old, I graduated high school miraculously, and that's about the time that I met my husband, my now husband, who could not be here today, but he's really cute and really tall and really skinny, so we're an odd pair, but it's kind of cute. He's really cool, and when we started dating, I was so happy, and like for the first time in my life, you know, he loved me no matter how much I weighed or what I looked like or what I'd been through or anything. He just loved me no matter what, so I felt so happy. And so I just, you know, didn't have any eating disorder behaviors while we were dating. I didn't have any self-harm behaviors while we were dating. I just was so happy. We got married when I was 19 years old, and about a year into our marriage, we went through something really difficult in our marriage, and we split up. And during that time, my bulimia kind of crept back in for comfort. I started overeating again for comfort, and then the bulimia crept back in, so that's kind of when that came back into play. My husband and I went to lots of therapy, lots of meetings with my bishop, and we eventually worked it out, and I'm so glad we did. We were so young at the time, and I'm a firm believer now that, because we've been through many other hard trials since then, and everybody in this, who here has ever had a marriage problem? I mean, no? Nobody? No arguing even? Nothing? Well, okay. A few of us know that marriage is hard, and sometimes hard things happen. And I'm like a firm believer that unless there's some sort of abuse going on, or someone's being hurt, or someone's being threatened, or someone's being murdered or something, I don't know, like I feel like most marriage problems can be worked through. And I didn't used to think that, but everything we've been through has taught me that, and we are just the strongest couple in the world, and I love him so much. And yeah. So anyway, throughout, once we got back together over the next 7 to 8 years, my bulimia kind of got even worse and worse because I was too sick to work, and so I was at home a lot. And so I would just eat and purge all day. I would do it for 10 times a day. I would stuff my face and purge, stuff my face and purge. That's all I would do all day for years. That's all I did. I never left my house. My depression, my anxiety, my social anxiety got really bad. I wouldn't even go to the grocery store without my husband with me, and even if he was with me, it was very difficult. Paul back there, who's my husband and my best friend, he's my cameraman. How long was it? How long did you know Danny before you met me? 4 years. So Paul was best friends with Danny for 4 years before I finally came out of my bedroom to meet Paul. I never left my room, I never left my space. It was scary, and during that time, I was diagnosed with some other mental issues, such as PTSD, obviously. I was diagnosed with bipolar at that time, but then later I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and then I was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and then I was diagnosed with something other disorder. I have no idea what's wrong with me, so I just know I'm mentally ill. It's probably a mixture of all of it, I'm not sure, because the schizophrenic thing, by the way, is because there was a little time where my mind just crashed. I went through this period I was binging and purging all day. I was passing out 5 times a day because obviously you get so sick, you lose all of your nutrition and your electrolytes, and you just pass out constantly. It's really scary. I just lost my train of thought. Anyone know what was I talking about? Schizophrenia, thank you. So during that time, my brain would crash, and I would see someone that was not there. Or I would hear babies crying, and there were no babies. Or I would hear other people talking, or I would hear Shanny, and I would turn around and nobody would be there, of course. But it wasn't a lot. It only happened a few times, and it did eventually go away. So I don't know what they called it, schizo something. I just forget what it's called. Is it schizoaffective? Is that what it's called? Okay, thank you. Yeah, you should come help me speak up here. Look at you. That's really helpful. Okay, I'm gonna come back to you if I need you. Are you cool with that? Okay, good. Okay, so anyway, my health problems, my other physical health problems continue to get worse. And then I will never forget the day that I got very sick to the point that I had to be admitted to the hospital for a few days. And during that admission, I was diagnosed with something called gastroparesis, which is where your digestive system stops working on its own. Because when you have an eating disorder for as long as I did, my body wasn't used to holding down enough food to push other food out and to digest, and so my bowels got really lazy, and so I had to start using enemas. I still to this day cannot poop without enemas, I'm not even kidding, and other medications that my doctor put me on to help me with that. And when I was diagnosed with gastroparesis, one of the doctors came in to the room, the one that had just diagnosed me, and he said, I want to talk to you about I want to talk about babies with you. And so I started telling him, I was like, oh yeah, I would love to talk about that. I love babies. It's always been the only thing I want to do with my life. What do you want to talk about? What can I tell you? And he said, well, because they had gone inside of me and looked a lot and scoped a lot, and he said, that due to my endometriosis mixed with the damage I had done to my body from the years of purging, that I had, if I'm lucky, a 1% chance of getting pregnant. That was probably, out of all the hard things I've been through in my life, probably that's pretty up there with the worst news that I've ever gotten. So I kind of had to change my path in life. I mean, we might still adopt someday, but since I'm so sick still, I'm kind of on a different path right now, and I kind of want to talk to you about that, because how much time do I have? Oh, I have 5 minutes? Oh, crap. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, let's see. Okay, so about 5 years ago, I was convinced, this was right before I got told that I couldn't have kids, and I was convinced at that time that I had gotten away with this this whole time. You hear horror stories of people being like, oh my gosh, if you have an eating disorder for too long, you're gonna lose relationships, and you're gonna lose the ability to have kids, and you're gonna lose your teeth because the acid eats away your teeth, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that will never happen to me, that's crazy. But then, as I just told you, it turns out that it's true. I can't have kids now. And now looking back, I'm like, wait, I have lost a lot of relationships, and also lost these, and these are dentures too. I feel so naked right now, but I'm gonna leave them out for just a second while I talk to you. I can't talk without these. I decided just a few years ago to start a YouTube channel, and here's why. There was this one night where I was purging in the bathroom, and at the time, I used a toothbrush to gag myself. And I was purging, and I had always thought to myself, oh, I'm such a safe purger, like I'll never swallow a tool, and I'll never cut my throat, and I'll never do anything like that, like I'm super good at it. But I stuck the toothbrush down my throat, and for some reason, my throat just closed and swallowed the toothbrush, and it got stuck right there. And it took about 20 seconds, and I'm not even kidding you. The first 10 seconds, you hear about it in movies, it's true. My life flashed before my eyes. What did it take to get me to this point? Why am I doing this? How did I get here? Who did I hurt? Who hurt me? Blah, 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 like everything. It was crazy. And then for the other 10 seconds, I thought, okay, this is how I'm gonna die. That's fine, I'm ready. I've always been suicidal, so this is easier. But then I was like, wait, no, I don't want to die. Like it clicked. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to die. I'm about to die. What's happening? I'm about to die. And so I said a little prayer in my heart, which I don't do. I didn't think I was worthy enough to pray for myself, so I never did. And during that second 10 seconds, I had this picture, and it came to mind my husband or my mom, who we lived with at the time, would walk into the bathroom and find me dead on the floor with puke everywhere and a toothbrush down my throat. And it was at that point that I just had to do something. And so I said a prayer, and for some, I don't know how, it was a miracle, because I cannot fit that's how far I will go. I have a really small mouth, but by some miracle, I shoved my whole fist down my throat and pulled out that toothbrush. And it was the very next day that I decided to do something about it. So I decided to start a YouTube channel where I thought it would be cool to start talking about it and to connect with people from around the world who have been through things that I've been through and who need the love and the help and the support that I always needed that I didn't have. And I made a vow to myself that not only do I want to bring these people through my journey, and if you want to go watch the videos, you can see how I lost my teeth. I took them through that whole journey. And I talk about everything. And it's been so rewarding and so helpful for me to hear all of other people's stories from around the world, and young girls telling me that I gave them the strength to tell their parents, and therefore they're getting help and they're going to get better. Like, I will spend the rest of my life, because I can't have my own children right now or ever, and I don't know if I'll ever have a child, but maybe this is my calling in life, is to warn as many people as I can to not give in to those temptations to hurt yourself because you're in pain. There are other ways to let it out, and that's not the right way to do it. And the dangers of eating disorders are so huge, and it's just not talked about at all. Like, not enough anyway. My brother is a doctor, and he said that out of the stacks of thick books that he had in med school, there was one page on eating disorders, one. And every time I have to go to the hospital for my health problems and I see a different doctor every time, I'll tell them I have an eating disorder, and they look at me like you're huge. No, you don't. And I'm like, Kate, you need to educate yourself, because a lot of people that struggle are not skeletons. A lot are, but not a lot are. And it's just such a dangerous thing. And I say on my channel all the time that eating disorders and other mental issues, I should add, thrive off of secrecy and loneliness, and we need to bring them out of the dark. And so I will spend the rest of my life, bringing it out of the dark and trying to take the shame out of it, because I'm sick of being silent. I'm so sick of it. I was silenced my whole life, and I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to silence eating disorders. I don't want to silence abuse, sexual abuse, mental illness. I don't want people to feel ashamed for that, because we all need help, and it's okay to ask for help. And none of you are alone, no matter what you're going through. If you relate to me, if you relate to any of the stories here, you are not alone. You can get through anything. I love that quote that's like, you've already survived everything you've been through. And that's true, because you're here, you're alive, and I'm a firm believer that every single one of my trials was given to me to prepare me for the next one. I wouldn't be able to get through each trial had I not gone through the previous ones that ended up making me stronger. And I don't know. So I believe in all of you, and I'm grateful for all of you. I don't even know you, but I love you, and I believe in all of you, no matter what you're going through, that you can get through it and surround yourself with love and positivity and God, if you believe in God, or whatever you believe in. And just know that you can get through anything. And there's something that I say at the end of all my videos, and I'd like to end with it here, which is, you are beautiful, you are worth it, and I am too. Thank you. I think I turned it off. Sorry.
You are beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you
So are
so
you.
much. This is good right here.
I know. Should I leave it?
Okay, so there you go. I feel like it went better than I thought it would, considering that I was in so much pain. I did not have anybody there with me except for the friends that I knew on the panel. I didn't have any friends or family besides Paul, which is, again, thank you. But I didn't have Danny with me. I was in so much excruciating pain. I was so nervous. My speech wasn't quite ready. I didn't know what I was going to talk about for sure. I just kind of got up there and winged it and took note for my notes a little bit, but mostly it just was terrifying. But I did it, and I'm proud of myself. And I'm freaking stronger than I thought I was, because how did I get through that? I have no idea. So, but I did, and you can too. So I'm just saying, I really believe in all of you guys so much. Anyway, so thanks again for letting me be a part of this, to everyone on the board for a reason to stand, and I will keep you guys posted on what my place might be with them. We'll see. Okay, so really quickly, a lot of you have noticed that I took down the live streams that I've posted over the past few weeks. I took down a bunch of live streams because I kind of wanted a fresh new feeling, and I'm not sure when that will be. I wanted to create a new honest plan with you, okay? So the first thing I wanted to do was, those live streams were a lot of negativity, and in those live streams, I should tell you, because I deleted them and not all of you saw them, in those live streams I talked about how my channel is suffering because I'm just not okay right now personally. I'm going through a personal issue right now, and I have been for a really long time, but it's come to light a lot recently, and it was making me sick, it was making me distracted, it was making me not be able to do anything and not have motivation to do anything, which is another like miracle that I made it to speak at this conference. So it's something that I'm still dealing with, and I'm doing my best to deal with it privately without needing to share it here online. But I know that a lot of people are really frustrated that I'm going through something and I can't share what it is, but it's so personal that I don't know if or when I'll ever be able to share it on here. I had told you before that I would share it eventually, but now I'm second guessing things because I've been doing a lot of soul searching and a lot of opening up about it to my family, and that's been helping me. And I might not need to tell you. I only wanted to tell you guys because I felt like I would need to tell you. But now that I've been opening up to more people in my personal life, I'm starting to feel a little bit of relief of it, and I'm not sure yet. I don't know. I still might tell you guys someday. I might not. I just want to say I'm sorry for bringing something up like that and making such a big deal about it, and then possibly never telling you what it is. I'm not sure yet. So thank you for being patient. I'm so sorry. It has destroyed my life lately. My marriage has been in trouble. My relationships have been in trouble. My body, my mental state, everything until the conference. Like, the conference is what I needed, and I'm doing so much better now because of it. But this is still something that I'm dealing with, and it's still something that I need to talk to more family members about, which is very thought consuming. It's all I can think about right now. So what I had said is that I should not, and I'll say it again for those of you that missed it, I should not have come back on here and made a plan when I wasn't ready to stick to one, and right now I'm just not ready to stick to one. There is one thing that I'm ready to stick to as far as my channel goes, which is Vlogmas. So I will start Vlogmas December 1st, and that's vlogging every single day until Christmas, and I'm excited for that. That makes me happy. That does not stress me out. That does not make me feel pressured to like talk about hard things, even though I probably will because I'm going through hard things. But it's like I don't feel as much pressure, and it's more fun for me to do Vlogmas than it is like that's, I can't explain it. That's just something that I do feel motivated to do. So I'm for sure going to do that. I'm for sure going to vlog Thanksgiving with my family because almost everyone in my family is flying in or driving in, and we're all going to have Thanksgiving together, which is rare. Like, all my siblings except for one, except for Julie. I'm going to miss her so much. And that's going to be awesome. So I'm going to hopefully vlog as much as they'll let me. Some of them don't like to be on camera, but I'll vlog the people that will let me vlog there because it's going to be really awesome, and it's exactly what I need right now. I love my family so much. So that's the only things I have planned right now. I have some other ideas in my head of videos that I would feel comfortable doing right now. So you might be seeing just random whenever I just can't, just whenever I can. That's all I can promise. I can't promise a schedule right now. I'm just a mess right now mentally and emotionally, and I'm nervous all the time, and I'm scared, and I'm hurting, and I'm just doing my best to do whatever I can to feel better so that I can come back to you guys fully and give you my full attention that I used to give you a long time ago, because I know that that's been lacking for a while, and I'm so sorry for that. I do still do live streams on Instagram every night, so if you'd like to come and watch me there, I usually go live anywhere from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. my time, Mountain Standard Time. So if you're ever on Instagram and you see me live, click on. I'm there every night for an hour. You can come and make friends with all of us, and anyone's welcome at any time. Comment as much as you can on those if you want me to get to know you better. That's the best way to do it. And then I've got some other ideas in my mind for videos that I might post here and there. I just don't know when. So I'm just going to kind of feel it out for now. And I'm thinking that after Thanksgiving, by then, I will have told my whole family, and I'm hoping to have some clarity on what to do moving forward after that. So that's my plan right now. And thank you for being patient. If you would like and you miss me for some weird reason, I have made almost 1,000 videos, literally like 980 or something like that videos online. So if you'd like to go and watch those, they are everywhere. So go do that, and I promise any day that I feel like making a video, I will. But I just don't know when that will be. So, okay, I'm gonna go. I love you guys. I'll see you soon, and I'll see you on Instagram for sure. And I love you, and thank you for watching. And remember forever and always that you are beautiful, you are worth it, and I am too. Thank you for watching. Bye!